not. I don't know what the hell he's all bitching about, man.
Doctor's going to be at the next Christmas party, I think, at
Oh,
Bob's
it's
house. Bob's open house.
You come on, man.
He was telling us about it.
It's so fun.
Dennis, come on.
And it goes like from like 6 till like 2 in the morning, so you get like a shift of people coming through.
Oh,
Dennis, come on.
But
Seriously, this is ridiculous.
Oh, if we can get everyone to scoot in just a little bit, just their chairs.
Early shifting and get out. Before he starts riding that electric scooter.
Scooch in. Please, my dear. Walter, you're good where you are.
Oh, I've got something stuck on the chair.
Oops. Yeah, you got your on the thing you need to lift up. Okay.
All right, hold on a second.
Where's your camera?
It's right there. That's why we all need to scooch in a little bit. On your good side.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know when you're ready.
Oh, wait, hold on a second.
You can if you want to. You don't have to wear the headphones if you don't. I just have a little bit of a lower on my left side, so I like to wear them, but you guys do not have to.
Yeah, I think.
This is incredibly ridiculous with them.
Yep.
It does.
Yeah, it looks like you're doing a commercial for some
I'm going to try and do
blue
that.
blockers.
My left, I've only got 70% hearing in my left side.
Well, wear them, but wear them like normal.
Well, I prefer the hat. If I don't wear the hat, then I look like a walrus with a comb over.
We'll put them on over the hat then. So you can hear it. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Not live, but kind of live, because we're live streaming on Facebook. It's the Bob Dean Show.
Yay!
Coming to you from the fabulous Sunset Strip in Hollywood, California. This is episode 75.
Yay!
Anniversary.
I'm very proud of that. Very proud of that, episode 75. We have lots and lots of subscribers. Please make sure that you follow us on iTunes. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Follow us on iHeartRadio podcasts. You can watch on YouTube and follow me at bobthesurlycomic.com. Instagram is bobdean2971 because it's wrong on my business card. I got to order some more. I want to welcome some great guests today. Before I get started, I want to say that speaking only for myself, Bob Dean, I do not by any means support Wells Fargo Home Mortgage because they are crooks. Nor do I support the billing department at Tower Urology because they are equally as crooked, and I will begin to speak to you later tomorrow, billing department lady. That being said, I do not speak for any of my guests here. Joan Schoeberl.
Schoeberl.
I always pronounce it wrong even though we've been friends for 10 years.
Yes.
Dr. Doran Bardi,
Yes.
correct? And Pat Kellogg.
Yes.
Hello. And there's another guy over here in the corner. You're not going to be on camera, so anyway, good to see you, bud. These three are my friends who are very, very, well, of course, this is our veterinarian, and Pat is recently retired from her position with the the Pico, Los Angeles Animal Services Shelter. And then Joan is my friend who is more active in fostering animals than anybody I've ever known. Because everybody knows that I do fostering for about 10 years now, 11 years.
You've helped out a lot, and you've taken some emergency cases, especially the one covered in some kind of cooking
I know, that was
oil.
pretty gross.
Yeah.
We'll get on to that. But yeah, but Joan is always like Wolfgang's, where I worked as a bartender for many years, who just we're in transition, so hopefully we'll be open up somewhere else. But there would be 1,000 people at the bar on a Friday night, and mine was down by the window, and here she'd be with a bag of puppies or kittens going like,
Yeah,
take this home. And I'm like, no more, don't do that.
No, but you know, the nice cocktail kind of helps ease the stress of fostering.
Well, I know because you've always got something in that bag of yours. What do you have at home right now?
I have a Pomeranian with a broken leg that will need a home shortly. That came from West LA. And I have a couple of kittens and my own 2 Pomeranians, which Dr. Bardi is their wonderful vet.
Yes, and he is also my veterinarian. And speaking of kittens, guess what, y'all?
Yeah, and Dr. Bardi spays and neuters all the kittens, the fosters.
Oh, we also want to say hello to Zach Herndon and Sammy Junio. And Dennis Olson is on the other side of the door over there. He's pissed at me because I guess I yelled at him. Anyway, sorry about that, pal. But look who's in here.
Look what Dennis and Bob did. These kittens were feral.
Now these guys will be up for adoption. Go ahead, Joan.
They were feral. They needed socialization. They were eating on their own, so it was an easy foster. And since Bob isn't working, he had plenty of time to socialize them.
Well, Bob and Dennis, and we've been really, they've been, you want to take one out? Can you reach in there?
Sure.
This is Manny and Mo, and they will be available for adoption in a couple of weeks because they're going in on Thursday.
They're a little shy right
To be
now.
Neutered
This
is what the
all
boys
brand
get,
new.
right? Neutered.
Hello.
And they are
Okay,
absolutely
okay.
sweet and wonderful.
They're just a little nervous. They're
A little nervous.
Their
And they get along
agent
great
said
with the
they're
big
not
guys.
supposed to be on camera.
Yeah, I know. Don't be shy. Just say hi because you're not going to be out here the whole time.
You're gonna see Dr.
Yes,
Bardi
I
soon.
know.
think they're excited for that.
Oh, they will be. You'll take good care of them.
So everybody out there
They
in
won't
Bob
even
Dean
know what
Show
happened.
land.
Yay.
Yay. Make sure you know that, and it would be just a wonderful if they could be kept together. You
They
know.
do great as a bonded pair. It's a lot easier to have two. I can't tell you how many adopters come back after getting one, and a year later they want another one, and now you're trying to integrate another cat with another cat, and it can be really tricky, and it can be very unsuccessful. Having two that are bonded already is so much easier. And they keep each other company. They really do.
Oh, these two are just ridiculously fun.
It makes life so much easier when you have two.
Well, we would love to have them run around the studio with us, but Sammy's allergic, so we're going to put it back in there. And they're very happy in here. So come on back in.
And doctor, are they big enough to be neutered?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
For us, they have to be at least 2 pounds in weight
Mhm.
or greater than 5 weeks of age.
Well, they are certainly that. And they have great appetites too.
That's very good.
I can tell.
Yeah. You want to jump back in here, honey?
I don't know. I'm cuddling.
Well, he's cuddling, but we don't want to just make sure
Yeah.
Sammy doesn't start sneezing. Yay, they're very content in there too.
Yeah, they do really well when they're hand raised. You get a really unique animal.
Well, Kathy, who is not with us today, she's ill, but she has her little Maybelline who's visiting her aunt in Maybelline. I don't know what kind of dog she is, but she's little and she's adorable and she's got lots of fur. Do you know what kind of dog she is?
And little.
Something, but Maybelline's cool as hell. She met her Christmas Eve, Maybelline. Well, maybe you were gone by then. Anyway, Maybelline's
Oh, did
cool.
she have her in that like suitcase stroller thing?
Yeah, she's
Oh,
all over
yeah,
Beverly Hills.
yeah.
Well, she's cool as hell, but Maybelline's visiting her aunt in Connecticut. But anyway, that's either here or there. All right, you two. So what's going on, Doctor? Tell us about you. You are you handle my cats, especially Loki
Yes, and Tilly, right?
and Tilly. They're both doing great. Tilly, I don't know what's going on with her. Did I tell you about her? She's so weird. She's a wonderful cat, and she chases her tail. Every cat that I have has come from some kind of bad background,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all wonderful, and that's why don't tell the landlord out there in Bob Dean land.
Yay.
But I have 5.
Yay.
We have 5, and they're adults, but they all get along like they're from the same litter, and the house doesn't smell, and they cuddle, they groom each other, they play, they follow each other, and they are indoor-outdoor cats. That's the way that they came to me. Unfortunately, the apartment, there's no alley in the back, and it's a kind of mostly a secured area, and they really don't wander. They stay pretty much there, and they generally come home. Well, like keep it during the day when they keep both doors open so they can come in and out, and then in the evening when it's time to corral them, I close the the security screen door, and then they know it's time to come. And usually they're all just sitting there waiting. But Tilly, especially, I don't know if it's because she's aging. I think maybe her hearing's getting a little testy, but she's done this to Dennis and myself to where she'll be asleep and you just reach down like gently to stroke her and she snaps and she got me really good on the thumb.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
In a specific area of the body?
Nope. She just the first thing that she grabs it, she holds on and she bites.
Huh.
But that was like she did it to him once and to me once, and that's been 3 or 4 months ago. But she hasn't done it since, and it's just the strangest thing. And like when she gets stressed, she'll chase her tail, and she sounds like a friggin' banshee spinning around. But she hasn't done that in months either. And sometimes she's just the sweetest thing. She's never been an aggressive animal ever,
Well, I thought she hid under your bed for the first year.
Well, no, when I first got her, she came from, it was a really sad situation that a little girl had found her under a dumpster, somewhere in the valley, and she was just a teeny tiny baby, and the little girl bottle fed her, and I actually found the letter that the little girl wrote to me with the family. I guess the father lost his job; they had to give her up, and she came through a private agency that my friend Julie Bass-Weissen, hey Julie, who was an English nanny in Beverly Hills, but lives in the valley. She and her husband, and they've got like 17 cats. They have a big house, and she works with an agency there. And she got Tilly for me, but it was a deal where where were we going with that? Where Tilly what?
I thought she was under your bed for.
Oh yeah. When I first got her, she hid in the closet.
Oh.
She climbed up on the top shelf of the closet and wouldn't come down. And so I had to take and it was for not a year, but like 3 months. I had to take everything out of the left side
Well,
of the
I guess
closet.
you
I had to put a litter box up in the closet.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's an adorable little cat. And then now she's just wonderful. She's
Oh,
wonderful.
when Bob had his Christmas Eve party.
Happy
and,
birthday, baby Jesus cocktail soiree.
Yeah, it was a little raucous. But Tilly was in the middle of it, just rolling around on the floor, having the time of her
Oh,
life.
she's a ball. And then Loki, who Dr. Bardi says he's got some sort of skin condition that
Yeah,
comes
flea
out.
allergy.
Yeah.
It's a very common condition in cats and dogs for that
Well,
matter.
you know, I was telling you that the revolution, there's that whole new strain of fleas. There are these little
Yeah, can
teeny
we
tiny
talk
ones.
about fleas for a minute,
Oh,
Doctor? I think I presented this problem with my dogs, and I spoke to Pat about it as well. There's a strain of fleas called cat fleas, and they've become they just take over your house. The animals are suffering, and we just can't seem to find anything that
It works.
works. Yeah, I don't know if you can name
Hey,
brands.
listen up,
but-
folks.
Well, the cat flea is actually the most common flea that we see on dogs and cats. In California, we have fleas year-round, even though they do flourish in the warmer months. They are present year-round. And I think one of the reasons why people are dealing with fleas and they're not able to get rid of the problem is because they're not doing the right things. There's something I like to call the holy trinity of flea treatment. Okay, and that means treating the house, treating all the pets in the house, and using a good product. If you're doing all those three things, you're going to get rid of your flea problem. Now, in terms of good products, you need to go see your veterinarian for those. Unfortunately, they're all prescription. The things you get over the counter, a lot of times are not very effective, especially here in California with the resistant fleas that we have. In terms of the specific product, you said Revolution, and I do think that I'm starting to see some resistance to Revolution.
Yeah.
And
I've been noticing that over the years.
yeah, and so in that case, you know what I think might be helpful is to change to something like Bravecto. There's Bravecto for cats now, which is a different product. It lasts for 3 months, also topical, and it's very effective. And there's also Revolution Plus, which is a new form of Revolution that just came out and has an additional component to it, which is an isoxazoline molecule, and that's very effective, and that improves the effectiveness against fleas. The nice thing about Revolution is that it also deworms the pet. So it protects you against intestinal parasites. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't think about when they have dogs and cats, is the intestinal parasites that they carry. They are contagious to humans. And if you're exposed to these eggs in your home, you're gonna suffer ill effects. So I do think Revolution is a great way to go, but maybe Revolution Plus is going to be.
Now, what's the ingredient in the Revolution Plus that makes it more effective? Is it a growth inhibitor?
I was going to ask that question, Joan. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love science.
It's the isoxazoline molecule, which has been added to the selamectin, which is the other molecule in it, and that's that really is kind of the new family of molecules that work really well against fleas. We're seeing, you know, if you look at the dog ones, Bravecto, NexGard, these are all the same kind of molecule that the manufacturers of Revolution have now introduced into their product.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Because I'll be having that problem soon, I'm sure.
Now, as
Summer.
Pat was saying too, was telling me, and Joan mentioned that diatomaceous earth.
Yes.
Tell us about that, Pat.
I sprinkle it on the carpets,
Mhm.
and you can sprinkle it on the pets also, and it's not. You have to do food grade though.
Food grade diatomaceous earth,
Yes.
right? And that stuff which I did. I got a big old 10-pound bag of it, and it goes. And then it's funny too, because when I kept thinking, why do I know that? Why do I know that? And as a child, I remember now my mother going, I got to go out and feed the pool. because you put diatomaceous earth into the pool as well.
Oh, okay.
And then my mother would make a big joke. She'd say to her, "I gotta go feed the pool that earth, blah blah blah." But I got a big old bag and put it all on the carpet and put it in with the broom
Right.
and moved the furniture and did all that. And I hated every minute of it. And my apartment's only this big, but it seemed to help. Because years ago in Miami, when my first cat, Felix the cat, of course, was this big black cat that I found in an alley, and that's how I got into cats, because I love dogs, and I wish I could have dogs as well. But I had an infestation in this apartment that I had, and this is way before. This is in like 93, 94. And I don't remember there being any products like Revolution or anything like that at that point.
You had the old school flea collar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which didn't work. And one day, and he was an indoor cat. I mean, I found him outside, and he was clean and neutered, and I tried to find the owner and all that, but he stayed inside. I lived on the 3rd floor of the Fenimore, which was a glorious building. And one day, all of a sudden, I'd come out and wearing like white sweat socks, and they would be covered. It was the nastiest thing, covered in these big black fleas. And it was kind of cool though, because I'd just sit there with a big lighter and light the side of the sock, and it would just go, and it all. But you just couldn't get rid of them.
Yeah, and that's a very good point there, that a lot of people think that if the pet's indoor only, they're not going to have a flea problem, and that's incorrect.
Right. Because they're gonna go out, and you're gonna bring them in.
That's
Mhm.
exactly correct. That's exactly right.
See, I never realized that. And the thing about it is too is that what in the years of and I never had them in Nashville, and here I'm going into my 15th year in Los Angeles. Is what I did was I always waited until I would see them, because I've never had. I mean, like even up until now, I think maybe twice I've had to where one has hopped onto me or onto my leg or something like that. I've never really myself been like, or had any like infestation on that I've noticed on the furniture or whatever. But when I know the animals like the back of my hand, I see them scratching a certain way or biting their tail a certain way, and then I examine them really close because they're brushed and all that sort of thing. And if I see a flea, that's when I'll treat them. And it seems like within 12 to 24 hours, they're all fine again. And I just like along the same lines as an antibiotic, I didn't want them to become immune. So,
Yeah.
but just like what's the damn thing I put on them now that you recommend not?
Revolution Plus?
No. What's the stuff that I get prescription?
Revolution.
Is that Revolution? So what's the one that was buying over the counter that I put on and I was all worried?
Frontline.
Frontline. That's it. The Revolution works great. It's the Frontline that I used to buy, and I used for years. It worked, and then the last time because I put it on because what you recommended the Revolution when I took Loki, and I just forgot about it. And I went and that because it was a Sunday, and I put Frontline on them, and Frontline didn't do anything.
Right.
Yeah, nothing. So, and it used to be a workable product.
It used to be, yeah, but it's not very effective now, like you said. And one thing that you mentioned is you're treating your pets at specific times of the year. I definitely recommend treating them year round. I understand your concerns about potential internal effects of the medication, but the truth is we have a lot of studies about Revolution and about NexGard and Brevectin and all these products, and long-term effects on pets. And don't believe what you read online, because a lot of people, without a lot of experience in the medical field, will put in their input, and sometimes there's no real basis for their claims. I don't know if you look into it, you read online, you'll see people claim that products like NexGard or Revolution cause their pet to die. And the truth is there's nothing behind these claims. Maybe they gave their pet one of these products, and then a few days later the pet suffered something, and the pet ended up dying. But was there a correlation between those two things? That's the big question. And as far as we know, when these products have been tested at super high doses, when they test them at much higher doses than what we're actually giving them, and for long periods of time, we know that they're very safe. And so when I take that into account, and I take into account also the fact that the parasites that they get are contagious to humans. Okay, if you recall, Revolution does deworm your dog, treats roundworms and hookworms. So ingestion,
which are contagious to humans, you said.
Yes.
Okay.
They're zoonotic,
There's
you
not.
would say.
That's exactly correct. Yes.
And doesn't Revolution also, or some of the products also treat if they have like ear mites or other
Yes, Revolution
external
also kills some
parasites besides the
mites.
fleas? Yes.
Exactly. Yes, it is approved for certain mites as well. So it's a great product. I would recommend using it on cats, all cats really, and I think now is probably the time to start considering transitioning to Revolution Plus.
Doctor, I have a question. When people see a live flea
Mhm.
on their animal or it jumps on them or something, how many eggs and larvae are in the environment waiting to become an adult? That's
Thousands.
I think you kind of like your ship has sailed once you see a live one.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, I think for every flea that you see on a pet, you have at least 300 in the environment.
Waiting.
Yeah, so there's if you're seeing fleas on the pet, there's probably dozens of fleas on your
Yeah,
pet.
I agree with year-round treatment.
And yes, and year-round treatment I think is the way to go. And then treating the house also periodically.
Yes.
That's very
And
important.
the animals are so much happier and healthier too. They're not spending their whole day scratching and feeling uncomfortable, and
Right.
and then you start itching watching them, and it's just like chaos.
You nasty fleas, go home.
Go away.
And
Okay,
I
so
have a
now-
suggestion too, also that when you vacuum your carpet and you're picking up the fleas and the flea eggs or whatever, and then you don't automatically go and empty your
Vacuum
vacuum
cleaner bag or cup.
Well, you should either put a flea collar in there or put some flea powder in there to kill the
Diatomaceous
flea-
earth.
or some diatomaceous
Our
earth
favorite.
to kill the fleas that are in the bag, or they're gonna hop out.
Well, when I was growing up, we always had dogs. I've had everything from poodles to Dobermans. And when I was a kid, I remember my father, he said, he would show my brother and I'd take a little bit of like cooking oil on a Q-tip and rub it on the dog's nose and just a little bit around the ear before you bathe them. And that would keep the fleas from running in the ear and the nose. Because I remember it specifically because my dad loved poodles, but he hated them. He never hated them. Like he had miniatures and toys, but they were never treated. He let them grow like sheep, and he'd just shave them in the springtime. And I remember
What state was this, Bob?
in Pennsylvania and then into Nashville, Tennessee
Yes.
when we moved to Tennessee. But the point being is that I remember once one of them, my brother and I discovered he was infested with fleas, and we gave him a bath, and 10 minutes, we dried him, and 10 minutes later there were still fleas on him, and then my father showed us what to do. We gave him another bath, and boom, there was all the fleas just came right off after we treated him like that. And, it's like kind of an old wives' tale kind of thing, but it sure worked.
You country boy.
But my father wasn't a country boy. My
Oh.
father, he was a very intelligent world traveler.
Oh,
He
okay.
just knew how to do things.
Okay.
Just because we were damn Yankees because we moved
Doctor,
from
what's your
Philadelphia
opinion
to
on this
Tennessee.
cooking oil?
We drove our BMWs barefoot to the country club, Joan.
With a cocktail in the cup holder.
That's right, and a cocktail in the cup holder. A martini is gin, folks. By the way, it's
And no
not vodka.
seatbelt.
So, Pat, are you enjoying retirement?
Yeah.
Do you miss the shelter?
No.
No.
I don't miss the shelter because I'm there. During the
Well, yeah, you
semester.
still. So, what
I'm
you
still
host
there.
a class there, right?
I teach a class for LAUSD. It's an animal caretaking class. It's for 11th and 12th graders.
That's awesome.
And it's 2 semesters a year.
And
So
do you do that on Monday afternoon?
I do it on Saturdays for 6 hours, and then I have a Monday, Wednesday class, 3 hours each.
And that's in the community room on the same premises, so
Of the
you
West
get to
LA.
hear the dogs
Yeah,
barking.
so I'm at the West LA shelter, except for during the summer, spring break, Christmas break.
I would love to volunteer my time there. I mean, I love fostering, I really do. But I would love to volunteer my time there, but I just can't. I can't. I mean, just when I pull up and all those, and I just credit all the people that can, but
It's a hard job.
yeah. I love telling the story about the Chihuahua. This is 7 or 8 years ago.
This is how I met you.
chased the Chihuahua.
This is how I met you.
How did we meet? I thought it was.
No, because I was sitting out front with my fosters trying to get them a home.
With the Chihuahua?
No, my foster kittens. And they were in the cage, and I'm sitting out front with the cage on the table because you get attached and you don't want to just let any random person take them.
Oh, that's right. And we just struck up a conversation.
You came and you were like just pouring in sweat because you've been chasing a Chihuahua in your neighborhood for 3 hours.
That's exactly right. And I caught him with boiled eggs from the Vaughns that they tore down, and this bit, and this, yeah, I've been
That
chasing
was
this
the best
Chihuahua, yeah.
little
And
bonds.
it was, and
Bearing
it was the only
peanuts,
prepared food I
Velma.
had. And I chased this Chihuahua. Another lady and I. It was summertime and it was hot. And we chased this Chihuahua, chased this
Yes.
Chihuahua. Finally cornered him. I mean, was driving the big Buick and I put the Chihuahua in the back and he ran to the back. And of course, you fall in love with him just like that. And I already had 2 cats, but I'm like, this Chihuahua's coming. I took him immediately to the shelter, but I already filled out the paperwork that I would have. What is it called? Eminent domain or
First right.
First rights, yeah. Eminent domain is when they tear down your house because you're a government motherfucker. Beep. Anyway, but I wanted to go. That's when I saw you.
And I was
met
out
you because
front
you were out helping the
hustling
kids.
my
Yeah,
kittens.
because it was. And then, but I came back a couple days later because I wanted to visit the Chihuahua.
I reassured Bob that the dog will be fine, and legally, when you find an animal, you legally
But the
have to
neat part
bring
of the
it to
story, though, is
shelter.
that I went back to visit the Chihuahua, and that's how I thought about that is because I walked into the back, and the dog. I took one glance, and I literally put my hands up like this because I couldn't look at the dogs. And there's this well-dressed lady standing like you walk straight back, and then it goes like this, and she's standing there, and I, for whatever reason, I beeline straight up to her like this, and I go, "Oh my gosh, this is so sad." And she's like, "I know, but they found my dog." And I go, "Oh my God, that's great. What
And
kind
it
of
was a
dog?" And she
Chihuahua?
goes, "A Chihuahua." And I go, "Was it a white Chihuahua with a flea collar?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I go, "I found it." And we were holding hands going, "Yay!" Jumping up and down. It was great. And she's like, "We've had that dog." She's, "My husband and I have no idea how he got out of the yard," but it was very touching.
But then that's when I got to meet Bob when he was bringing the dog in.
Yeah,
and
I forgot
reassured
about
him
that,
the
yeah.
dog would be fine. Blah blah blah, and we started chatting, and I found out he worked 3 doors down from me as a bartender.
Yeah, not only are you one of the hottest stylists in Beverly Hills, but you're always carrying on a bag full of Chihuahuas or something. And then, of course, Walter and Joan were the
Pomeranian.
first ones that helped me get that my Happy Birthday Baby Jesus cocktail soiree the last 2 years in a row.
Yes.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I have a couple of martinis while I'm setting up, and
Well,
Dennis is on the other side of the door, but he is 99% in there with me too. But
Yeah, we
Walter,
have a
can you
lot
help
of
me
fun.
move this bookcase from one side? I smoke when I drink, and I make no apologies for it. And yes, I smoke inside.
But I think that was the best part of the party was getting ready for
It's a
it.
great party, though.
We had a
isn't
lot of fun
it?
helping you.
I
Yeah,
just, I
it's a
love
great
pissing off
party.
the neighbors.
And Bob, tell us about that wood paneled station wagon you have and what you do with it.
All the listeners of the Bob Dean Show
Yay.
know about the Road to the Roadmaster. And she was stuffed this year. She was overstuffed. I
Santa's
was very
sleigh.
proud of everybody, yeah. Because that's what the deal is. All the guests bring something for the shelter. And, yeah, she was overstuffed. So tell us, what's your deal? Where are you from? Are you married?
I'm not married. I'm engaged.
Congratulations. And
Thank
your
you.
fiance is her name?
Her name is Jessie.
Yes. Hi, Jessie.
Hi, Jessie.
And where are you from? Where's your home?
I'm originally from Israel. I was born in the States, though. Grew up in Kenya. Lived in Kenya for 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then my family moved back to Israel. I was in Israel for my high school, and I did the military service there
Ooh.
for 4 years. I then traveled for a year backpacking in Australia and New Zealand. Got back to Israel, and then I decided ultimately that I was going to pursue my dream of veterinary medicine.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. What a fascinating past. What are you, like 25? Seriously. That's awesome.
I'm 38.
38.
Wow.
That's great.
You could shave a few off and nobody would question it.
Well, no, what a wonderful past. World traveler and veterinary medicine. That's what. Is your wife a veterinary? Is she in medicine
Jessie?
as well?
Yeah, she's a human nurse.
Oh,
Yeah, she's
Good.
a palliative care. Yeah, she's amazing.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
do you know any
that's
other
a big heart for
veterinarians
that.
in town? Because if you don't have a buddy, I'd really like for you to meet J.D. Carlson. He and his brother have the. J.D., please forgive me.
Carlson?
Yeah, Carlson. I always say Carlson. J.D. What is it? It's,
Isn't it Carlson Medical Hospital?
no, it's.
Pat?
Oh my God, I'm
I
so
don't know.
mortified. Christ Almighty, I'm getting old, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody say something.
Well, you know what? Since
Bob,
you're having
The table.
Oh, sorry.
since you're having a lapse in judgment
What
right now,
is
why don't
it?
you foster this dog I have with a broken leg?
No, No.
It stays in a crate.
no, thank you.
All right.
The
Pomeranian.
It's a
I'm sorry, I'll
Pomeranian.
think of it.
Oh,
He's
no.
a veterinarian. He and his brother, and it's been a family clinic, and it's on Fairfax, and it's been there for 50 years.
Not Laurel.
That's it. The Laurel Pet Hospital.
And
Thank
you know who uses
JD
that?
and his lovely wife Ashley
Yes.
are very,
and
very
you
good
know
friends of
who
mine.
uses that?
Yeah.
Hospital. They do a great job
Thank you, Joan. I was going to kill
helping-
myself. I couldn't remember. I'm sorry. Joan.
helping a rescue called Kit Crusaders that your good friend Nelia has.
That's
Where
where I've
that's
gotten.
where they
Isn't
they
that-
help them out. They give them a great.
Isn't that
a
where I
great
got
rate.
Loki and Thor from Kit Crusaders?
Yes, from Nelia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nelia and Mary and Kit Crusaders, great rescue. They do great work, and that hospital helps them out tremendously.
Well, JD is great. He's a great guy. And so if you haven't met him, we'll have to get together for happy hour sometime.
Yeah,
He and
I'd
his
love
lovely
to.
wife, Ashlyn, and I met him through his wife, Ashlyn, and she's a doll. And we're all good.
Well, when we
6
get
degrees
you,
separation in this giant town is pretty
yeah,
cool.
let's get you on the working side of the bar, and then we'll all come
Ugh.
and celebrate.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Cocktails are free.
Well, yeah.
Nobody's gonna hire me for that. Pat, I gotta tell you, at my birthday dance-a-thon, you kicked ass on the dance floor.
Oh
Pat.
my gosh, that was so fun,
Okay.
Wasn't it
Bob.
fun?
It was
We
a
had.
lot of fun.
I'm glad you kept your pants up this
Walter.
time.
Walter's a dancer too.
Yeah,
We have
well, that's what
Walter
I'm
in the
saying. We
corner
all had a
here.
great time. You gotta come to
Walter's
next year.
off camera.
God willing, I'm alive.
Yeah, but he's a great dancer.
I did keep my pants
yeah,
up this
yes.
year, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
did.
Thank gosh, Doctor.
Is that a thing?
Well, we start, like I said, we start off at 1 o'clock. And have you ever been to the Abbey before?
Well, I think you
No.
start
It's
1
50,
o'clock.
you know,
the
it's
night
it's
before.
gay, straight, 50-50, but
It's
it's
fun.
everybody
It's just
goes there,
fun.
and it's just a fun spot. It's an
Big
indoor
outdoor,
restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got a great dance floor. And the reason we go at 1 o'clock is because I'm old now,
Yeah.
and at night it's just too damn crowded with all these beautiful people, toy, and they think that. And believe me, when I was young and good looking, I've been a bartender for 36 years, and I lived on Miami Beach, and I did all that all night stuff for years and years and years. And you look at pictures hanging on my living room wall, and people are like, "Is that you?" And I'm like, look at me now. The
Yeah.
point being is that it's fun. It's a great. We do it like a couple times a year, but we just blow it out, and everybody has a ball.
Bob, what's that? Carol and Hector. They
Carol and Hector,
they always have
they're
a blast.
and they have a kick-ass Cinco de Mayo party at their fabulous home
Oh,
in Fairfax. Too.
And yeah, you've got a great eclectic bunch of
I know.
friends.
That's what I was
all
telling the doctor
ages,
about. I
all
said I'm
things.
such a jerk, but I've got such wonderful friends of all ages and
know.
everything. But the point being is that at about 3 o'clock, a guy and a girl go-go dancer come on. And they're both like in this excellent shape, and they
Oh,
hang
yeah.
upside down and all that. And of
Yeah.
course, I'm like, that's how I ended up picking that place first. Is because when I drink, because cigarettes nauseate me. Like right now, if I lit one up, I'd be like, ugh. But if I'm drinking, I'm like a yo-yo. I can't do one without the other. And yet, you can just step right outside, and your friend, So that's why we end up going there all the time. And the point is, so these guys are all up there, and I'm like, oh, they can do it, I can do it. So I just drop my khakis, and I'm like, and it's funny because it's on video. Somebody got a video. It's hilarious because the
yeah.
go-go girl is like, she's going, security, security.
And Nikki, your coworker Nikki's
Nikki
face.
and Melanie are all there. No, they're all like going, their head like, yeah, yeah. And then all I remember is the bouncer coming up laughing, going, dude, pull up your pants. And I was like, sure, man. Which led to me doing it on stage at the Laugh Factory.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Were you there that night?
No, I was not. And
Like I
thankfully
said,
so.
people up there like,
think I had to
give
work
me any
late.
sass or whatever, and this girl's like, drop your pants again. I'm like, you think I won't do it? She's like, yeah, Dave, check it. I'm like, please. Everybody's like, oh my God.
Yeah, doctor, if you need a little stress relief, bring Jesse to a comedy show at
I'll have
Bob's.
to check you out.
Yeah,
Unbelievably
you
amusing.
got it. He really is funny.
Thanks. I
You're
appreciate that. I don't have any
welcome.
gigs coming up though, so I need to get out there and hustle it up.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy when you're up there.
Yeah. I did the haha a couple of times last month, so I need to get back out there. That's a great club. I love the haha club on Lancashire.
Oh, that was the one in the valley.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's on
Uh-huh.
Lancashire in North Hollywood.
Yes. I've been there to see your show before. I get like some extra brownie points for going over the hill.
Well, when I do over here, like at the Laugh Factory, I mean, like I said, I have a pretty decent following, and when I'm at the Laugh Factory, I usually get a lot of folks that come, but it's so bizarre that people don't want to go over the hill, and then my friends in Santa Monica don't want to go past the 405. And people. Like,
There's
yesterday, Nikki and I went to meet our friend Vivian in Santa Monica, and I milk Santa Monica for the address. I live right where Brentwood and Santa Monica come together. I'm like, I don't know, 8 blocks out of Santa Monica West and 2 blocks out of Brentwood. And you can walk to where OJ killed Nicole from my apartment. That's my big selling point to my friends.
Hey.
That's funny. Well, you can. Anyway,
bring my
so but
Bronco.
Nikki, we were going to this place yesterday. Of course, I can't remember the name because I'm losing my mind, and it's like 2 blocks from the pier. And so Nikki came over to my house, and we're taking the convertible. And then, we get in the car, and I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot that Santa Monica is so stinking pedestrian friendly now. All those walking people. That once you get within like 5 blocks of the beach, it takes you an hour to get to a parking structure.
Bob, I walk to work
Why?
because it's quicker than driving.
Well, you live like 2 blocks. If I lived 2 blocks, I'd walk.
But then if I go to Santa
I'm
Monica,
talking
I
about
take
all
the
these-
bus.
all the-
It takes me right there.
Well, then just stay out of my way.
Well, don't crowd my bus, okay?
And listen, I ride the bus too. When I worked at Wolfgang's, I rode the bus quite a bit. The only part the reason why I stopped is that at night the bus comes along every 20 minutes during the day, but at night he comes along like once every hour, and half the time when I'm standing right there, he drive right by.
Yes.
And one time,
Yeah.
he stopped in Westwood and just pulled over and got out to go and use the lavatory at the Chevron on the corner of Beverly Glen and Westwood and Santa Monica, and everybody on the bus is looking at each other like,
Where'd
he
you
didn't
go?
even make an
Jesus,
announcement.
take the
And then we're all
wheel.
like, well, should we,
Drive?
what's happening? And something,
You shouldn't start driving. I don't know.
city bus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're loving
no.
it, Bob. Living large in LA, it's you got to navigate your
Oh,
way
and don't
around
forget
it.
the train now. I'm like, hey, let's go.
Hey, let's talk about the train, Miss
Well,
Kellogg.
Well, I haven't taken the train since I retired. Well, not regularly. I
You-
used to take the train to the shelter every day.
From where? Where's your?
From Lumber Park.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah.
Because it gets on. Where did you get off at?
I took it. I got on at Crenshaw and Exposition and got off at Pico and
Yeah, right there.
Sepulveda.
Well, that was perfect for you.
Yeah.
Because when I took it a couple times just for fun, but the last time I took it, I thought I had forgotten. The first time I went to physical therapy, because when I go privately, I go to UCLA 1 day a week, and then I go privately to the Strong Sports Gym. Strong Sports Gym, great place, over by Dodger
Yay.
Stadium. Willard, you know Willard Ford.
No.
Anyway, that's
I'll
what
just
Modi
pretend I
Iron's in,
do.
and Rob Wilhut is the doctor there. Blah blah blah. I said, let's take the train. It'll be fun. And it took like an hour to get down. And I forgot that once you get there, you got to take the other train across and blah blah blah. So it was not fun.
We took the train to the Rose Bowl parade this year.
Oh, yeah?
It was a lot of fun.
Well, I did make these 3 young ladies who were all like with their long fingernails. They were like high school kids, and they were with their backpacks. And I had a cane with me, and of course Dennis walks with a cane too. And there was another gentleman with a cane, and these 3 girls are like laying across the handicapped seats. And they're like, hey, you know what, that boy, he thinks I'm pretty. You wanted me to have sex with him? And I'm like, get up. I did. I'm like, get up. Because we stood there for like 2 minutes, and they're just looking at us. And then I was like, get up. And then I said, young lady, get up. And I took, because my cane is a big brass A-ball in the hand. And everybody's like, you're going to get yourself shot. And I'm like, yeah,
Flick
I
it, a
know,
little
but,
shank comes out the other.
my will's homemade out. The $67 in my savings account goes straight
Doctor,
to my niece.
I know. I know you work in West LA. What's your commute like, trying to struggle, get through to work?
Well, right now I live in Santa Monica.
Oh,
great.
okay,
So it's
good.
actually not bad. It's about 15 minutes to the shelter.
Oh, good for
Do you
you.
take Olympic or Pico straight out?
I take the 10 and the Pico.
The best kept
Good, 'cause
secret.
I don't want you stressed out commuting.
The best kept secret out of Santa Monica, though, if you're stuck in there at rush hour, is to take. Now, don't tell everybody.
Bob, don't say it. I think I
Is
know what
to
the secret is.
Nebraska.
Oh, really?
Because if you're coming up Pico or Olympic or get Santa Monica, cut all the crap, get to Bundy, and to either direction, and get on Nebraska, and it's stop before it stops all the way through,
Mm-hmm.
and be respectful of because it's residential, and then you come to the light at Barrington, you take all the way to Sawtell, and then turn left, and you'll run into some traffic. Sometimes it's hard to get up to Santa Monica to turn right, like where the New Art is and all that. But all that backup at Olympic or Pico or Wilshire that goes all the way back as far as Bundy, you'll bypass. So,
well, thanks for giving the secret away, Bob.
well, everybody's got their stupid Waze app and all that sort
Yeah,
of thing.
they're cutting down my street off of Wilshire.
Well, seriously, that Waze app. I mean, I feel so sorry for those poor people up in the hills, because that that Waze app that that takes you to the Hollywood sign. All right, it's ridiculous because it takes you up into Hollywood. Don't ask me how I know this, but it takes you into Hollywood land. The
camp. I used to work there. When I was a teenager.
Yeah, it's
Aw.
but it
I was
takes
a
you.
camp counselor.
It's so neat up there, though, that Hollywood Land is like one of the original suburbs, and that's how the Hollywood sign started, because it used to say Hollywood Land.
Oh, that's right. They were trying to sell real estate now.
Yeah,
now
that's
we're
exactly
all,
that's what it was all about.
Now we're
And
all
it's
looking for a
all the
tent.
homes look like these little castles and stuff like that. Los Angeles is a great town, even though the homeless can't afford to live here anymore either. Jesus Christ, it's so ridiculously expensive to live here.
It is.
Pat, remember when you worked at the shelter? We had a lot of homeless, and many of them had pets, dogs,
Mhm.
and things. But the shelter was always very involved in donating food and
Sure.
making sure they were licensed and cared for. And,
Yeah, we were accommodating then.
yeah.
I don't
That's
know
it. Still,
about now.
can you still do so? There's one particular woman in our neighborhood who's got a gorgeous German Shepherd, and I always keep food in the trunk of both cars, and I see her all the time, and I always pull over, and Dennis and I would give her treats and.
Well, that's what's good about West LA area. The community will take care of the homeless people and their dogs. You know, they
I'm happy
rally
to do it.
around
Yeah, I
them.
see it all the time.
You know,
Yeah, Bob, give them some flea medicine too.
we would, a homeless person's dog would come into the shelter, and I don't like to call them homeless. I'll call them displaced.
Mm-hmm.
Would come into the shelter, and and they would give us the name of somebody in the community that helps them out all the time and their phone number, and I call them, and they come in and bail the dog out for the person. So they really rally around the
That's wonderful.
displaced people in the community and take care of their dogs and the people also.
There was a fellow out back in the parking lot back here who I had volunteered. I said, "Hey, I've got some." He's like, "No, thanks, I'm good." I was like, "Okay, change your mind. Let me know. I'm here every Monday." But as long as they're content,
Yeah, and then there's some homeless or displaced people that use their animals, to get food or money. They want to have an animal there because people have sympathy for the animal.
For the animal.
More than the person,
Mm-hmm.
so.
It's just like a pawn.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It's sad
unfortunate
sometimes,
because we do some comics. We do the Slam Down, which is a benefit for we've had them on the Bob Dean Show before.
Yay.
Yay.
To talk about Slam Down and not getting away from the shelter or pets just for a minute, but as far as displaced folks go, the folks from the VA hospital have been on, and they discuss how not a lot, but many, it really is a lot of guys who work as teams, and they tag team certain corners, and they collect all day, and it's just unfortunate.
It's a business.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm in the wrong business. I know. Yeah, working in Beverly Hills is interesting. We have the few regulars, and it's copacetic. They make a lot of money every day because they brag about it. And there is a guy that has this rabbit.
Oh, the rabbit guy in the wheelchair.
And he's not disabled, by the way,
No,
because I saw him
he
running
walks
out of
just fine.
pavilions,
He walks
stealing a bottle of liquor.
Oh my God.
But he's got this rabbit, and he pimps it out, and rabbits are so sensitive to heat, and Doctor will agree, and Pat knows, they can just drop really quick, and it'll be so warm, and he's got like an outfit on it, and the rabbit's just sitting there, no food, no water. They need to constantly be eating and drinking, and he's just got this sign that says hungry, and he's overweight, and and it's like his fifth rabbit they keep knocking off. It's so sad But luckily, City of Beverly Hills is very proactive with getting housing and assistance, and they got him into some housing, but he still
Oh, that's
pretends he's
Homeless.
yeah. By the way, he came out here from Florida on his own volition because he had, I don't know. Anyway, we offered him a ticket back. We were going to do a little fundraising because he was sleeping behind a building down the street from where I live, from Neiman Marcus, and all the girls were like worried about him because he had this little dog. And thank gosh we got the dog from him. And we left it at the shelter to make sure there wasn't an owner looking for it because we didn't know like really how he procured this dog, and we wanted to do the legal correct thing. And we left it there. Nobody claimed it, so my friend went and got it. Anyway, got spayed at your office, and thank gosh because the dog had a litter of puppies in her.
Oh my.
And that would have been like a horrible situation. So and then he since then he's had probably like 5 rabbits.
Wow.
And won't take the ticket back to Florida.
Well, I just walk right on by.
I do too. Oh.
So tell us what we can. We only have a few minutes left on the Bob Dean Show.
Yay.
What can we
Yay.
do to be more supportive of the Pico shelter and all of the Los Angeles County animal shelters?
Well, Pat,
Of donations, monetary donations,
Monetary,
gift cards,
always food and blankets,
blankets and towels and
personal
food.
time,
Personal time is the best.
fostering.
Yes.
Fostering, yes.
And make sure to bring the food. If you're going to donate food, bring the food that the shelter's already feeding the animals, so the diet isn't switching, and we don't have the medical staff.
So it's
dealing
always
with
it's a
it.
good idea to stop into your shelter and find out what they need before you buy.
Right, and the shelters have wish lists so that you can go purchase the items off the wish list.
Excellent.
And I think if you could get one person to spay or neuter their animal, convince them to, and if they need assistance with finances or transportation, we won't need shelters anymore.
Seriously, I mean, you look at the charts on what is it? The multiple, like one cat. I've seen that chart before, and it's just
The pyramid.
blows your mind. Yeah, about how one cat or a dog.
Well, I
how
always
many?
tell my students, I said, for every one human baby that's born, there's 22 puppies born and 44 kittens born.
Mm.
So every time a puppy or a kitten is born, it displaces the animal that's already here.
It's just
And we
heartbreaking.
we don't
I
have
don't understand
we don't
why
have enough homes in the city of Los Angeles to take care of all the animals here.
every animal that I have, like I said, and there's only one foster that I've had that came from a high rise in West Hollywood where somebody passed away. Every other one has come from the street. So please, y'all, spay and neuter your animals.
Please,
Absolutely.
and you can get it done for free.
You can get it done for free. And
In
all you
fact,
gotta
I
do
might
is
even give
Google
you
it.
$50 if you go do it. In addition,
Well,
Bob will buy you a drink.
we're out of time. I hate it. This is episode 75. I want to thank Miss Kellogg,
Thank you.
Joan, Dr. Bardi, Walter over there in the corner, Dennis on the other side of the door, Sammy Junio as usual. Please, y'all, follow us on iHeartRadio. That means go and click it. And on iTunes, okay. BobTheSurlyComic.com and YouTube. And what else? Next week, Kathy St. George will be back with us and her friend from New York. I can't remember her name. But I want to thank you all very, very much. It means a lot. Thank you very much. Support your shelters, ladies and gentlemen. Foster, and thank you.
thank you.
Yay.
Thank you guys very much.